What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. I'm your host, Dylan Clemens. Here with me, as they are every Friday, is Mike LaPlante and Ike Bonnie talking week 2 game previews. What's up, fellas?
What up?
You know, just hanging out at the beach. Me and Ike, he's got the hat on. I got the shirt on. Dylan apparently didn't get the memo. So how you doing, Dylan?
Definitely didn't get the memo. I'm the normal guy here. I'm the normie. You guys are weird.
Big time weird guys over here.
Yeah, big time weird guys.
Top 5.
Michael Plant's even got a sweater going
Yeah,
underneath his beach shirt. That's
real briefly. Me and Ike did discuss what if we had a top 5 weird guys segment every week? It wouldn't be a terrible idea.
That's true. Arthur Smith would probably lead that.
Oh, he's top 3 weird.
That's what started the conversation.
Yeah, no shit.
Top 3 weird guy.
That's fantastic. But guys, before we jump into our week 2 game previews, please smash that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you don't already, and head on over to fantasy6pack.net/plans and check out our memberships. You check out our Discord over there from the membership. You use F6P NFL for 10% discount right now. So you get access to our award-winning rankings. Like I mentioned, you get Discord stuff, access to all of our analysts, our betting stuff, DFS. You got Dave Eddy, you got Detroit Beastie over there, killing it as always. I know that they won me money last weekend. I'm sure they won you guys a little bit of dough too. It was fantastic. So just get in the Discord, sign up for one of those plans, and it's going to be come have some fun, win some money.
I won some money on the Thursday night showdown because of them. So, yes, definitely go get in that Discord just to talk to them.
Yeah, no doubt, guys. Are you guys ready to hop right into this or what?
What I tell you about jumping and hopping?
Dude, I like it. I'm just so excited. We got another week of football, and it's a new week.
Why are you excited?
It's a new week, Mike. You said you heard me all week bitching in our group chat with all our buddies about how upset I was about my fantasy week and the Bears, mostly the Bears because of the way that game played out.
I remember telling you literally texted me at 11 o'clock at night. You're like, yeah, I literally can't sleep right now because I can't stop thinking about the Bears.
I legitimately lost sleep because of that. I mean, it's awesome. I talked to my dad for a half hour yesterday. And he said this. I told him about that. I lost sleep. He's like, Dylan, me too. For 2 days. He's like, I had a headache. He's like, I couldn't deal with it.
You guys are silly, man.
It's football, and this has affected our lives like that. It's
just you have no control.
Crazy. I know. Football's life, man. Football is life.
Be mad at your fantasy team when you're upset. You let 100 points on the bench this week, right, Ike?
Come on. I mean, who started DeAndre Swift unless they absolutely had to?
Actually, Kendall Venezuela was on the podcast last night with Joe and
Fantasy
AJ.
6-pack hour, yep.
Yes, sir. And she actually did start DeAndre Swift, so she reaped the benefits.
More people should listen to her then.
You can check her stuff out at Fantasy Life, correct, LaPlante?
Yes, sir.
Yes, but let's Let's head on right into our first game here. We got the Green Bay
This is
Packers.
why I didn't understand why you were excited, because we're talking about Arthur Smith's Falcons. For the first game.
Right out the get-go, man? Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. We got the Green Bay Packers favored by 1.5 on the road against the Atlanta Falcons. Ike, let's talk with you first. If Christian Watson is out, which it's still up in the air last I heard, correct?
It is. He's just questionable. He didn't really practice.
Is there a reliable pass catcher in this offense or not really?
No, they're not getting enough targets. It's more spread around, and they're relying more on the running game, obviously. I mean, Dubs and Reed each saw 5 targets, so, I mean, that's encouraging, I guess, but not enough to be starting in shallow leagues or even 12-team leagues. So you can roster them, but I think that's as far as you go.
The problem is, too, Dobbs is banged up, and he only played 48% of the snaps last week, too. So it's not ideal.
But that's good seeing 5 targets and 48% snaps or whatever. So he might be the number one option, obviously, if Watson's out again. And Musgrave is intriguing because tight end is kind of a wasteland right now.
And
he saw a lot of air yards.
Yep, he should have got in the
nice.
end zone, but he fell down.
He could have got in. He has a possibility to be a top 15 tight end for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And then there's another thing.
I mean, I'm just going to stop you quick. Top 15 tight end is not saying very much.
6 points.
No, yeah. I'm just being on the lower side because he's still a rookie, and normally rookie tight ends don't do good the first year.
I mean, later in the season, I mean, this is a good tight end draft. I mean, so there's a lot of good.
He was supposed to be good, man. He was supposed to be a top 3-4 tight end.
They got to learn how to block, when they first get in the league, and that's kind of where they're, what slows them down. So, like later in the season, wouldn't be surprised if there's maybe a second half breakout.
But I think even going forward, that the running backs are what you want to own in this offense, not necessarily the pass catchers, because they're going to want to lean on them more. So Jordan Love doesn't have to try too much.
Sick professional segue there, my dude. So A.J. Dillon might be the starter this weekend with Aaron Jones dealing with that hamstring injury. That doesn't sound ideal.
Especially when he pulled up, that didn't look good. He definitely hurt that shit for sure.
Yeah, and then he's downplaying it and stuff. But is A.J. Dillon a must start?
Yeah, yeah.
Atlanta, okay. That's
you can easily expect 20 carries or 20 touches, whatever you want to say. He will get some targets, but yeah, who's behind him? I know Michael Plant sent something in the chat, whoever the backup is. I don't know who it is, but I wouldn't be worried about him.
Mm-hmm. Backup for who?
Who is it? AJ Dillon?
The Packers.
Patrick Taylor.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
AJ Dillon will see a lot of work. He can be started for sure if Aaron Jones is out. If he's not,
yeah, he's got 20 carries for 42 yards written all over it this week for sure.
He will fall in the end zone probably.
Mike, heading over to the Atlanta Falcons now. What do we do with Kyle Pitts and Drake London after we saw that shit show? I'm still rolling with Pitts, but London has me scared shitless, and I don't blame anybody if they have him on their benches this weekend.
So, I mean, you said it right. I mean, that's where he should be. He should be on the bench. Like, it's week 1, guys. I've seen Drake London be actually dropped in some leagues. Like, don't do that, guys. Yeah, like, sit him on the bench. I understand. Mac Hollins got 4 targets to his 1. It's not ideal. Why, Arthur Smith? Why do you have to, ruin our days? But you just gotta know when the Falcons are getting demolished, which they eventually will. Maybe it's not by the Packers this week, but it's going to inevitably happen. It's the Falcons. Arthur Smith's record in the past 3 years is 15-20. So it's not great. They don't always win. I know he says this is winning ball, but they're not always winning. They're going to have to throw the ball eventually. When you think it's a negative game script, go ahead and play London in the flex. I'll get behind that. But this week, I just feel more comfortable sitting him on the bench. Start Kyle Pitts
should be on him.
Another reason why I'm not a huge fan this week. But Kyle Pitts, like Ike alluded to, tight end's a fucking wasteland. I mean, unless you have a top 10, top 5
he has to be started.
End, yeah. Unless you have a top 5 tight end, you're starting Pitts. I mean, you're not starting, Dalton Schultz over him. You're not, starting Dalton Kincaid over him. None of those guys. Luke Musgrave. You're not starting any of these guys over him. So you're starting Pitts.
And it's not like you have to squint to see if Kyle Pitts is good. He's damn good. That play he made last week on the long catch was awesome. And you see videos surfing all over Twitter of him just burning guys.
Put him in the Chiefs offense.
Yeah.
You're looking at literally one of the greatest talents at tight end.
Yeah, he's
fast as a wide receiver, as big as a tight end. Come on.
Just get him the ball. Arthur.
Gets as many targets as Mac Hollins.
Pretty much.
And then Mike, we have to touch on this here. Excuse me. Tyler Algier got a ton of work in week 1. As the Bijan owner, are you worried about it, or is this the type of thing, since they run it so much, that you could get away with both of these guys as fantasy options?
I'm not worried. I mean, Bijan's top. He's more talented than Algier. It's no slight to Algier. He's talented, but Bijan's just better. The snap count, I mean, albeit alarming, still favors Bijan. He had 32 snaps. Yeah, I mean, for a first game, I mean, go look at Jameer compared to David Montgomery, and Montgomery's, I mean, he's good, but Jameer's going to be, dominating that later in the year. But Bijan came out the gate, already 4 snaps ahead of Algier, 33-29 for Algier. I'm just more worried about the red zone. Like, Algier got 4 touches inside the 20 compared to Bijan's 3. Like, and those 3
Still
were
close.
pretty much they were targets. They weren't even rushes.
You like that though in PPR?
I think like that.
I think Algier might honestly be the goal line back, Mike. If I
don't believe it because it was almost an even split. It was 1 difference. You know what I mean?
I hear you, but what you
But
kind of just
4 of them
alluded
were
to it, that
carries,
those
3
were
of them were
targets.
targets.
Algier's a huge dude. Like, we can't forget that. And when he's got a full speed, when he's running full speed downhill, he's got a good chance of getting in that end zone from short yardage. Bijan does too, but the way Arthur Smith is running it, it seems to be like Algier might be the goal line back.
In 12-team leagues, start him most
I'm
of the time.
totally okay if you want to start Tyler Algier. If you
10-team
waited on running backs
no.
and you want to just throw him in like your RB2 spot or something,
I think he's a solid flex play. He's not getting you 2 touchdowns every week, though.
No,
that's what's giving
not.
him his ceiling. Otherwise, he's got a safe floor as a flex.
I was going to say, you get 10, 12 points in your RB2, even your flex with what you're saying, you're totally okay with that,
It reminds me of A.J. Dillon when he was a rookie with
I think he's better,
Jones. And well, I mean,
I don't know. A.J. Dillon saw targets at least.
It's true.
Right, and we also saw him get however many carries for 29 yards against the Bears last week. Wasn't it like 15 or something?
True.
Not great, Bob. Not great.
Couple of goal line ones too, if I believe.
Yeah, it was definitely not great. But who do you guys got? Who do you guys got in this game? Packers are favored by 1.5 on the road. Give me Atlanta here.
No, it's the Packers.
Ike, who you got?
I'm going Packers.
If Aaron Jones is out, though, I will take the Falcons to cover. I still think
Packers for now till Aaron Jones news.
All right, guys, heading down to Tampa Bay for the Chicago
before
Bears.
we do have one question though.
All right, go ahead.
All right, German. Evening. How's it going, man? He wants to know, should he play Christian Kirk or Darren Waller?
This would be a Christian Kirk.
Would
be a question.
I'm going Christian Kirk, no doubt.
Question.
It's funny you say that. We'll get back to this question, but then we got this comment over here. I dumped Kirk for Zay. Angelo,
what's going on here?
I don't think you realize just how funny that is. We had a whole just spiel about it today
for like an
in
hour.
Our group chat, in our Discord, all over the place. Mike was pro Christian Kirk. I'm pro Zay Jones-ish.
I just wanted to say that Zay Jones is better than Sky Moore, and it turned into just chaos.
We will get to the Christian Kirk conversation, I'm sure, but let's get to that question.
I mean, with it being tight end premium, I do like Waller. All right, because I can see a world where Waller and Kirk have the same amount of targets, but here's the thing: Waller's catches are worth a half point more. And Waller's the number 1 target most likely in that offense. Kirk's second or third.
Yeah, I'm gonna go off sleeper and say that Christian
Giants
Kirk destroys man coverage, and that's what Chiefs do. So that's what I'm going.
He does, and I did listen to Matthew Berry, and the 2 times he played last year against the Chiefs, he did dominate. So I mean, there is that
again without Kevin Ridley.
I mean, Darren Waller is a little more banged up. You know what? I changed my mind. I would actually go with Kirk in that one.
Yeah, I think
Christian
Kirk as well.
Who did Giants play, by the way? I forgot.
Cardinals, which is like a pretty good matchup.
Yeah,
it is.
But our next game, guys, we got the Chicago Bears getting 3 points on the road against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Ike, starting with you, let's talk this Bears offense a little bit. Do you expect it to turn around after what we saw last weekend, which was just an abysmal performance? Let's just say from all around.
You're not going to like this answer, but I don't think they're going to turn around this week. The Bears struggled tremendously on the offensive line front. They allowed 4 sacks. Buccaneers don't have as great of as a pass rush, but they still got some guys.
Blitz a lot.
They had 2 sacks last week.
You can thank Todd Bowles for that.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Justin Fields turn the ball over again, sacked a few times, which not great, unfortunately, but it's the world we live in as a Bear fan.
Yeah, no doubt. But outside of Fields, who do you think leads this team in fantasy
I was
points?
just gonna say, I do think they're gonna put an emphasis on getting the ball to DJ Moore. Last week was weird that they spent all that draft capital or whatever trading that first round pick for him pretty much.
Mhm.
So I'd like to expect 8 targets, 10 targets for him. So I'd put him in lineups for sure.
Carlton Davis is also banged up with a toe injury. And let's file this away that DJ Moore spent 4 seasons in the NFC South, and he's seen the Buccaneers defense over and over and over again. He talked about it in his presser.
You can beat them with the corners, but if
Mhm.
you start sitting in the pocket too much, Vita Vea is going to get to you, and Trey Anshinka and all them will.
Yeah. Like I'm panicked about Drake London, but I'm not panicked on DJ Moore quite yet. If we see another game like last week, then sure, I'll be panicked. But as long as he comes out and shows a little bit and sees the targets, I'm totally
He needs to get some targets.
If it's not your team that you love, you're not going to overreact after 1 week.
Oh my God.
I still do we still like Justin Fields more than Desmond Ridder, Mike, or no? I'm just checking here.
Yeah,
Okay,
the rushing
okay.
floor just no,
I'm talking about throwing the football too, even. Because that's the difference here that we're talking about. Desmond Ritter's throwing to Drake London and Kyle.
I mean,
Pitts.
I don't know if we've seen Desmond Ridder enough to say we can correctly judge him for throwing the ball.
That's true, he's got like 6 games under his belt. What he is what he is.
Game manager so far.
Ridder has Ridder threw like 18 times last week. It's what's
what he averages in his career pretty much. So
yeah, it's but heading on over to the Buccaneers side of things. Mike, and my question last week of this offense was could Baker keep these wide receivers fantasy relevant? And through 1 week, he did that.
And your next question was the same thing.
Yep. Does he do it again?
My friend. Very creative. We're gonna have to talk about those questions. Yes, it's the Bears, guys. Now here's the thing: the Bears were the 19th best, to have wide receivers against. They allowed the 19th most points. So it's like not great, but it's because Aaron Jones killed them last week. So they didn't really have to throw the ball. I mean, mainly it was, Jordan Love had the 3 touchdowns, but it wasn't a lot of yards. I mean, so Aaron Jones did most of the work. So like, I know you're going to ask me this question next, so I'll wait on it. But yeah, I just believe it's going to be Godwin this week who gets the touchdown, because if you break down, because I know you watched the game last week, like there wasn't a lot of deep passing. Like you had the one to Musgrave.
It's a broken play. Jordan Love legitimately just dropped the ball in the backfield, and everybody came up.
Exactly. But if you look at the Aaron Jones big game, it was a screen.
It was like a halfback.
It was short
angle.
Short passing.
I love it.
So like, I think it's going to be short passing here that beats the Bears, and that's what Chris Godwin excels at. Where Mike Evans might get a touchdown over the top, I just don't see a lot of targets.
And just to put a little bit of emphasis on Chris Godwin, Kyler Gordon, the starting slot receiver for the Bears, is out in this game. And the Bears' second string slot corner, Josh Blackwell, is also out in this game.
I do got to say, defensive coordinator will not be there as well.
Yep.
And Eberflus is calling the defensive plays this week. So I like it. Because he's actually probably a better defensive caller than whoever we got.
But it's different people communicating and stuff now, so that could go wrong. But Greg Stroman's probably in the slot for the Bears this weekend.
Sweet, I like that. Hell yeah!
Just a special teams guy, so it could get ugly here.
Very quick.
10 catches for Godwin. It's possible.
Yeah, it could be. It
can only help
for Chris Godwin.
I mean, duly noted though. Angelo says there's a 66% chance of rain in Tampa, 80% in Jacksonville. So,
why does that get me excited? That favors the Bears so much. Put the ball in Justin Fields' hands and just let him run around because he's the most athletic dude on the field.
Because you are a Bears fan. That's why.
But guys, who do you got in this one? The Bears or Tampa Bay?
Bears, since I just heard about the rain.
It's raining. Yep, Angelo. I mean, you talked me right into it. Bears are winning in the rain.
Nah, taking the Bucks. The Bears got embarrassed last week, and I really didn't think the Packers are going to be that great. So give me the Bucks.
You want to talk about somebody who got embarrassed last week, Michael Plant? Let's talk about the Seahawks here, getting 5.5 points on the road against the Detroit Lions. Do you expect a bounce back from the Seattle offense that was just brutal against the Rams defense that probably has about 4 or 5 undrafted players on their team, on their defense?
Last time Geno played Detroit, he dominated. I wouldn't say dominated, but he had a really good game. That was before Detroit knew what they were.
I was gonna say, could I just interrupt you? Can I just interrupt you for a second too, real quick? The Seahawks are missing both their starting tackles too on the offensive line. Aiden Hutchinson is gonna absolutely eat. But go ahead,
dude's a beast. Anyways, in his last 5 games, Geno, he's only averaging 13 fantasy points. So I think it's time to say he might have come back down to earth, which I don't like saying because I
don't like it either. Owner. Yeah, he totally might have.
So that hurts a little bit, but at least DK is involved for the touchdown threat. He's always been a touchdown threat, so he's still salvageable in that offense. But right now, Tyler Lockett looks brutal. Jackson Smith-Njigba doesn't look anywhere what we thought he was or this offense. So I would avoid for the most part.
Yeah, I think you're definitely starting DK if you got somebody that you could start over Lockett this week. I'm all right with that, just until we see this offense bounce back a little bit. Because Geno threw for 105 yards last week, guys. I know, Mike, you're going to say don't overreact, blah, 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 but I'm going to.
Spend the last 5 games, man.
And it's the offensive line. I watch it every weekend. If the offensive line isn't good, it's not going to be good. By
the way, did anybody see when Aaron Donald was coming in on Geno Smith?
Yeah.
And him
yes.
Oh, God.
Pretty much everybody in their right mind would have the same reaction.
Maybe like you think Anthony Richardson, being as big as he is, would have that same reaction?
It's Aaron Donald, man. 290 pounds coming at you relatively fast. I'm freaking out.
Yep.
Even if I'm 6'4", 240.
Mike, before we hop into these questions, let's just finish up this game and then we'll get all the questions that we got rolling in here.
Right.
So Mike, after 1 week of Gibbs in Montgomery, everyone's freaking out about Gibbs, but please tell the people why they shouldn't panic.
I mean, it's not exactly the same splits as last year. Last year, DeAndre Swift actually came out the gate getting, majority of the snaps, 66.7%. Now that was, obviously Montgomery this week or this past week against the Chiefs, but it was Gibbs' first game. It was a primetime game against the Super Bowl champs. Like, they were just easing him into it. I'm sure they were afraid, like, maybe some fumbling issues. They just didn't want to lose the game, which I mean, you look at how they won. It was by 1 point. If there was one Jahmyr Gibbs fumble, they're going to have a repeat of DeAndre Swift missing that touchdown catch to win the game when he was a rookie. So maybe they just want to have that same taste in their mouth with Jahmyr Gibbs last week. If he, did happen to fail, which I don't think he's going to. He's a great talent. Yeah, I mean, even with his limited workload, he still looked good. Now, the week 2 last year, it evened out a little bit more for Jamal Williams and Swift. Swift ended up having 50.8% and Jamal ended up having 34.4%. Now, this was before the injury for Swift. So, I do expect it to eventually flip-flop at some point in the season, but it's probably not going to be till after their bye week. So, Jahmyr Gibbs for season. Give me Monty, though, this week against a juicy matchup against the Seahawks.
So you like Monty over Jahmyr Gibbs still?
Just this week, I do like him over I think Jahmyr Gibbs will probably break off a big one. I wouldn't be shocked, but he's still going to get just a minimum more. I don't know if he still gets that huge uptick we want him to get. He's not going to get that 20% swing that we want him to, in just 1 week.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. I hear you there.
I don't think we'll see him in the end zone very much too. That's my worry.
It'll probably be more like what we saw last year with Swift and Jamal Williams, that 50 to a 34%, snap percentage, but it'll just be favoring Monty. He'll probably get that 50%, and then Jahmyr will get 34%. So he's going to get an uptick. He's going to get more because he showed he deserves more. But it's just I don't think he's going to get that, 10 touch increase that everyone wants him to get.
Yeah, no, I get that.
He's not going to get the Alvin Kamara workload that Alvin had his rookie year.
You don't think so?
No, it's
unfortunately
just
no. Alvin Kamara that
Taylor
year
good
was
enough.
getting 8 to 10 carries plus 6 to 10 catches. So I don't see that for Jahmyr Gibbs.
And Monty's serviceable enough to, just give him a workload, because here's the thing. I don't know if, like, in my opinion, you draft a running back in the first round, you run him to the dirt, especially with how they treat running backs.
On
But I don't know
that
if
rookie contract, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're going to do that with Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think so. I mean, they kind of see him more as, that change of pace back, but maybe a little bit more involved than that.
Yeah.
Intriguing. Yeah. Swift could be doing what what Gibbs is doing, but
Dan Campbell hated him, man.
It's working for them, so
they don't hate Jahmyr Gibbs just yet.
Yeah. But who do you guys got in this?
Who
do you guys got in this one? Seattle's getting 5.5 on the road against Detroit. Give me Detroit here.
Seattle 5.5 though, man.
That's a lot. Yeah, I mean, well, Detroit is home. Goff goes off
at home,
Seattle. Angelo said in the comments. I still go Lions on this one. They're coming hot off of that Kansas City win.
I go Seattle.
Yep, agreed. Mike, you want to throw us some questions up there that you said we got?
We just got one here because I answered disbanded in the chat because I had a feeling you guys were gonna answer, sweep it with me. Algier over Pierce. Yeah.
Pierce.
No, it's Algier over Pierce. Alec Pierce.
Ooh.
Pierce? Alec Pierce. I thought you were gonna say Damian Pierce.
No,
yeah, that confused me too.
Oh, you know what? That is Damian Pierce. I didn't even think about that. I thought of Alec Pierce for some reason. That is Damian Pierce.
Give me Damian.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm going Damian for sure.
I mean, Houston plays the Colts, though.
That doesn't scare me.
That does. Their D-line is good at stopping the run. It's their secondary that's not that great.
Damian should get...
Robert, the Colts of Robert
Woods ran all over
bigger workload. Week, he should get the projected bigger workload.
Was revived by the Colts defense secondary. So,
and Stroud might be out, man, because of his shoulder, so they're going to want to run.
So I still go with Algier over Pierce just because I think there's a safer floor.
I think the Packers defense is tougher than Indy, but that's fine.
Yeah. All right. Sure. Well, if that's the question we got, the next game we have here is the Las Vegas Raiders plus 9.5 on the road against the Buffalo Bills, who are looking to bounce back. Like Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, both disappointed. They weren't brutal. They didn't kill your weeks, but they weren't the guys that we saw last year. What's your outlook for them in this one against, I don't want to say a tough Buffalo defense. They're kind of in limbo right now, if I'm being honest with you. But what do you think about Adams and Jacobs in this matchup?
Jacobs is a little rusty, you can tell, from basically sitting out every practice in preseason. Mm-hmm. Still, he must be started because he's going to get a ton of the touches. He still saw 3 targets, I believe, last week.
Yep.
And I don't think you should worry about Devontae Adams. Still saw 9 targets. Jacoby Myers is going to be out.
Yep. Yeah. That's doubtful, the other one.
Or is he out?
He's doubtful, but doubtful means out pretty much.
They expected him. They expect him.
Adams is elite. Don't worry about him.
Yeah, I'm definitely
don't
more
expect the big plays like
when
he was with Derek Carr because that's not Jimmy's game. But you can see easy 8 catches for 80 yards and touchdown.
Do we see a Hunter Renfrow revival with Jacoby Myers not there to take snaps?
No, apparently he's a better defensive back because he laid out that dude on that fake return or whatever, or fake punt, and just clobbered that guy.
He's a do it all kind of player.
Apparently.
Yeah, he is. Right on. But heading over to Buffalo, Mike. What do you think about how James Cook looked on Monday? To me, I'm a James Cook guy, but he looked good. He looked shifty. He looked quick.
I'm not a James
catching the ball out of the backfield. But the eye test doesn't lie, man. I loved everything I saw from him besides Damian Harris getting work towards the goal line and Latavius Murray working in on the last drive of the game, which maybe shows that they don't trust James Cook 100% yet. But what's your take here?
I mean, you kind of laid it out there for me. Now, granted, here's right off the bat, like 59.4% snap count. I mean, not great. Not great, Bob. But like you said, Latavius Murray took the 2-minute drills, which, I mean, that's where a lot of running backs will get those easy dump offs just because that's what the defense is giving them because they don't want to give up that big play. So Latavius Murray's going to reap in the benefit. I don't think it'll stay that way, but currently that's how it stands. And the biggest thing is here, and we kind of know this, they don't use the running backs in the red zone, but this is just mind-blowing for me. Like, Cook didn't receive a single touch inside the 20. Not a target, not a rushing attempt. In fact, the only running back that did was Damian Harris, and it was just one. So it just seems like he's a, in between the 20s guy where he's going to get you some yards, great low-end RB2, safe floor. Just don't expect many touchdowns from this guy unless he breaks a big one.
No, definitely not. But that's not what you were drafting him for. You were drafting him hopefully for the volume through the air and the 10 to 12 carries that he's going to get. Because Mike, he did see 6 targets in the passing game, which was great to see because Josh Allen doesn't love to check the ball down. That's kind of why they lost this game where he was just sending throws through the air.
It was the D-line of the Jets. I mean, he didn't have time to pass the ball downfield sometimes, so he had to check it down. Yeah. It's just when it gets to the red zone, he's not looking their direction.
Yeah, I hear you. But if this is any time for a get-right game for this Buffalo offense, I feel like it's this one. I feel like Josh Allen should have a big day. I feel like James Cook will be good. Stephon Diggs will be good. How about our guy, Gabe Dave?
In a game,
what did he do last week?
Not much. It was a quiet week. I don't know what his stats were off the top of my head, but it was he started him, you weren't thrilled.
Outside of his playoff
move to have both of those guys, but
if you're in this situation, you're playing James Cook, I think, over Algier, just because you're capping your ceiling by playing both of them.
Yeah, I'm going James Cook over Algier as well.
But
go ahead, Mike.
Gabe Davis, outside of his postseason career, he has a quiet career. So
weird. I've been saying that for the past 3 years.
He definitely struggles to separate. I ain't gonna doubt that anymore.
I don't know what his problem is, but maybe that's it. So he's just boom or bust at this point. He's kind of like
the Bills could have used Hopkins.
The Chiefs could have used Hopkins. Let's be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot of solid teams that could have used him, and now he's going to rot away with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback. But who do you guys got in this game? Buffalo spotting the Raiders 9.5, it's a big spread here.
That is a big spread.
I'm going Raiders.
All right, we'll go Raiders on this one because the Bills are struggling. I still think they come out and do well. They win, obviously, but the Raiders aren't a push.
Jimmy just wins games, man.
You give me Buffalo.
Or at least keeps you in games.
2 touchdowns here. Give me Buffalo. Next one here, we got the Los Angeles Chargers favored by 3 on the road against the Tennessee Titans, who we just mentioned.
Weird.
Sounds like Ekeler's going to miss this game. He's doubtful. He's actually been ruled out. I thought I saw that he didn't even travel with the team. I'm pretty sure I saw that. So is it Josh Kelly time? But let's stop for a second. This is a brutal defensive front he's going against, though.
I guess, yeah, but
you see what Jamal Williams did last week? 18 carries for 40-something yards.
Jamal Williams is a plotter. Come on. He just needs to get into the end zone to be relevant. But I can see why you're saying that. With Kellen Moore in town, they're emphasizing the run more, it seems like. But that was with Ekeler still there. So with Ekeler not playing, more than likely, I can see them going back to their normal.
He did not travel. I can confirm that.
Okay, so I think Kelly is still a starter worth a start in the flex. And if you're struggling in the running back department, you could put him at running back too. But other than that, I think they're going to be throwing a lot more than we expected.
Yeah. You get a call fucking.
Kelly is not a pass catching back, so don't be expecting a bunch of catches.
You call out Jamal Williams for being a plotter. What the hell is John Kelly? Yeah, what the hell is Kelly?
At least he ran for 92 yards.
Yeah, hey, that's fair. Like I did score 20 touchdowns last year. But that
how many were from the 2-yard line or from the 5-yard line or lower?
Precisely 83%. Oh man.
I don't know who Michael is, but sure.
Mike Williams, probably.
No,
That
come
was
on.
the next
Yeah.
question I was going to ask you.
Keenan-
We got Mike
Keenan
Williams
Allen,
or
Mike
Quentin
Williams.
Johnston here. Who do you want this week out of those two?
At least you gave me that. You couldn't give me Mike Williams over somebody who is actually relevant. Quentin
That's
Johnson saw like
That's true.
maybe 3 targets. He ain't relevant right now.
I mean, maybe
Don't
he
even
gets the
think
target.
About
Maybe he-
starting him. You
he-
shouldn't even be rostering him unless you're in a dynasty team right now.
He should have got more targets last week with it being a shootout, but maybe with Ekeler being out, maybe he gets a target or two, but it's not anything.
He's not even number 3 on the, or at least we're talking about Quinn Johnston. He's not even number 3 on the depth chart or in the target share right now because Joshua Palmer
Mm-hmm. Shocker, Joshua Palmer's finding his way out on the field doing some.
always does.
Yep.
Always does.
Yep. Mike, heading over to the Tennessee Titans, and what a weird offensive showing we saw from these guys. Tannehill is awful. Tyjae Spears is out snapping Derrick Henry for some weird reason. What do we do about that? Nothing, right?
No, I mean in the words of Aaron Rodgers, former Packer, RELAX, relax. It's week 1. This is an overreaction, Dylan. King Henry still sits on his throne.
No.
They always start. I mean, on his throne in Tennessee. Henry
It's a
always
lonely
starts.
throne over there.
It is when you got Tyjae Spears behind you. Henry always starts slow. I mean, and he ages, like a fine wine, just a little faster because, fine wines don't age in 18 weeks. Week 1 of last year, you want to take a guess at what he finished his RB for his finish? Ike, don't answer if you remember.
38.
Dylan, that's a good guess. 35. In 21, you know what he finished?
38.
31.
One of them's got a hit.
I was going to say, that's pretty close both times.
But RB3 in week 1s of the past 2 years. So, I mean, he starts slow. He gets better as the year goes on because no one wants to tackle him as the injuries pile up. I'm not worried. He's going to take majority of the snap count. I believe it was you, Ike, that said it was odd last year. He only received more than 75% of the snaps. 1 game, I think it was. 3 games. Thank you. 3 games. So that is a little odd, but it's still his. It's his.
He doesn't need that many snaps though.
He needs touches.
Does Tyjae Spears need to stay on our radar because of the snaps that he played and how decent he looks when he does get
Let's
the ball?
wait till this week.
Explosive. Okay.
I'd like to see what he does this week.
You monitored him. Yeah, monitored him. But, I mean.
Deeper leagues, you should be rostering him for sure.
If you got an empty spot on the roster
league.
because you're hammered by injuries, go for it, I guess.
And then you drafted DeAndre Hopkins. You're probably still rolling him out there, even though he's banged up. He seems to always be banged up, but he always is trying to be out there anyways. But let's talk about the other wide receiver in this offense. Let's talk about the second-year guy, Treylon Burks. I think he saw 3 targets last week. Mike, can we cut ties with him, or is he someone you want to keep around now because Hopkins is a little banged up already?
I mean, I'm keeping him on the bench even without Hopkins banged up. I mean, it's clear that Tannehill and Hopkins are just not on the same page so far. Yeah, he got 11 targets, 13 targets. He's throwing to him in triple coverage, and Hopkins is even telling him, "Why are you throwing to me in triple coverage?" So
Tannehill looked like he had dead arm. If I'm being honest with you, he looked like he had nothing left.
So and this is what I've been preaching since the offseason. Mike Vrabel's offense is a run after the catch offense. Hopkins is a possession receiver. He's, he might get you some, double-digit touchdowns if they, are fortunate enough to get to the red zone that many times. But he's not going to be getting a lot of yards, in my opinion, if the volume's not there, because I don't see them throwing that many times again if Tannehill looks that bad.
Yeah, right. They don't want to throw it that many times if they don't have to, man.
Exactly.
This offense wants to run through the running backs. We know that. That's what Vrabel wants to do. Their defense is pretty solid. But who do you guys got in this one? Do we see these? Both teams are 0-1 actually, so they're both kind of need the win here. Who do you got here with the Chargers favored by 3 on the road?
Chargers.
I think
Chargers.
I'm gonna take Tennessee here at home. Actually, I think
cover?
Mike Vrabel. No, Tennessee's getting 3 points at home, Mike.
I know, but I mean, you think they're going to win, huh?
Yeah.
They're the favorites, is what you're saying.
They're not the favorites, but I'm going to pick Tennessee.
That's my point. Like,
Mike
I don't think they
Vrabel,
even get within 3 points.
How much better of a coach is Mike Vrabel than Brandon Staley if we had to put it on a
Vrabel's probably better.
Runs laps around Brandon Staley as a coach. So it's like that's what breaks the tiebreaker for me there. Next game here we got is the Baltimore Ravens getting 3.5 points on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals, who looked outstanding in week 1, if I may say so. Just kidding. But let's talk about the Ravens first. I want to say we talked about on this show at least a little bit last Friday, but I know we talked about him on Sunday. Zay Flowers, man, I love this guy. Did he do enough to where you want to put him in your starting lineups this week and moving forward?
Yes.
I love it.
I get it. Mark Andrews is out, but I feel like that's going to hurt Bateman and Odell more. Zay Flowers showed that he can be the guy in the offense. Grant, I know Michael Plan's going to come back with his A-dot of being like, what was it, 2.8, which is brutal. But still, seeing 10 targets in your first NFL game is impressive.
But what that shows you is they're doing everything they can just to get him the ball in space.
Once he had 2 carries, Dobbins went
Yes.
down. He's going to be used more. I can see him being used like a Debo, just less carries, obviously, and maybe a little bit more targets.
Yeah,
I would be starting him.
Yeah, I'm definitely all about him. But outside of Zay and the wide receivers, let me just throw this one on you. Let's talk about the running backs here with J.K. Dobbins going down. Just give me who would you have rather had this week on the waivers, and are you starting either of them, Justice Hill or Gus the Bus Edwards?
I wouldn't start either of them.
Even with Justice Hill's getting in the end zone twice last week, right?
He's not going to do that every week.
He's like 8 rushes for 9 yards, right?
And I feel like Gus Bus should be the goal line back more than him, but he must be dealing with more injuries or something something's lingering.
Be a little rough.
Something,
yeah.
But
Angelo he's with you on the same page.
Yeah.
How can you guess what one to start? I feel like it's just gonna go with a hot hand.
That's why I write the waiver wire article this season every week, and I didn't write them in my write-up portion. I just mentioned them in the lower part. It's like, because I don't know. I would have rather had Kyron Williams. Kenny Gainwell, if he didn't get hurt, stuff like that. I would have rather had them over both of those running backs. So, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of either of those guys as well. Mike, I guess let's talk about the Bengals. And what we saw last week. Joe Burrow obviously didn't play this preseason, didn't get a lot of work in training camp because of the calf injury he sustained. But do you expect a bounce back against the Baltimore Ravens defense that is banged up, but they did look pretty good against the questionable Texans offense last week?
I mean, I did call it last week. I said the Browns are going to win. I mean, the record stands for itself with how many times they owned the Bengals in the past 3 years.
Myles Garrett, man.
Yeah, true. Now, this is a little different, though. Yeah, I do believe in this offense. They're going to struggle a little this week because here's the thing, and Ike brought this to my attention. Like, Joe Burrow has thrown for literally 900 yards in a combined 2 games against this defense before. 400 plus yards and then 500 plus yards in 2 games.
What the hell?
2 years ago, though.
That's a good stat. I like that.
These were games, though, where the Ravens secondary was just absolutely diminished by injuries.
It always
Peter
is.
True, but it's not yet. It's not yet. So, like, they're probably going to put up a little fight this week, but I do expect a bounce back because of how much the Ravens struggled against the Houston defense. Like, I have a feeling like it just seems like Lamar in that offense is struggling picking up Todd Monken's, scheme. And where Joe Burrow and company have been dealing with the same scheme for, 3 years. So, like, it's just like riding a horse. It's just, like you said, there wasn't very much practice in the preseason, because of the injury to Joe Burrow. So, like, this is a good defense, where I think Joe Burrow just can get his confidence back. And I expect, you're starting Jamar Chase, you're starting T. Higgins, start Joe Mixon with confidence. But it's going to get better.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think eventually the Baltimore offense will get better because we didn't even mention it. Lamar looked rusty as all hell as well. Dropping the ball, holding the ball out with one hand on runs and stuff. I wasn't nice, Steph. That's awesome. No, yeah, they definitely did not show up. That was I don't know who was the worst showing, the Bears, the Bengals, or the Giants? Who was worse? And I bet you each fan base would say that.
Giants.
I'd say Bengals because they have Super Bowl hopes.
No, I mean Giants. They got shut out and they were a playoff team last year.
On national
Giants
TV.
don't have Super Bowl potential like the Bengals do, who only threw for 82 yards like Burrow.
They didn't get shut out though. They couldn't even get a field goal. If you can't get a field goal, you can't get across the 50-yard line to get a field goal in the NFL.
Dude, it was raining pretty heavy there, man.
I mean, it's raining in the Bengals game. They got a field goal.
There you go.
Who do you guys got this one? Baltimore's getting 3.5 on the road.
Baltimore.
On the road, I go Cincy.
Give me the Bengals as well. Our next game, we got the battle of the rookies in the AFC South. We got the Indianapolis Colts favored by 1 point on the road in Houston.
I mean, don't say that too soon because Stroud might not play because
I don't want to deal with that negativity right now. Get him out there. He's fine. Canacon, he'll be fine.
Franchise quarterback, bum shoulder. Let's get him out there.
Yep, just trot him out there. We don't want to see.
I'll be all right.
Yeah, we don't want to see pencil neck Mills out there anymore. Well, I'm curious. You're a ranker on fantasy6pack.net. Check that out. But how high do you have Richardson ranked this week after the show and last week?
Based off his goal line carries, red zone carries, which he had, let me see here, like 4. So he's going to be used a lot like Cam in his few years, which Cam in his first few years was a top 12 quarterback by the end of the year. I have Richardson as a top 15 quarterback this week, but
come on, man, you got to move him up. He's playing the Texans too. Yes, I said this about Geno Smith. I said this about Geno Smith, and you should have listened to me last week. You got to move him up. I'm just kidding. Geno was awful last week.
Texans have a tough defense, man. Those 2 safeties, Jalen Piter is pretty good. They have Derek Stingley, Will Anderson still. Come on. Anthony, you act like Anthony Richardson's the greatest passer. I still think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I didn't say any word about him being the greatest passer. I think he could do enough along with his rushing floor each week that I think that he needs to be ranked.
And the red zone carries helps 10, too. So he should be started for sure in 12-team leagues.
But let's talk about his number one pass catcher because Michael Pittman was the talk of the offseason, like, oh, this is going to be awful. Mobile quarterback coming in, an inaccurate quarterback coming in. It's just going to be terrible. He had a good week. Granted, it was on a screen that he took a long way for a touchdown, but is what we saw for Michael Pittman, like, is that sustainable moving forward with Anthony Richardson?
The targets, yeah. You can see the targets a lot. Maybe the catches around 7 to 8. But don't expect the huge 39-yard touchdown screen. That's not Pittman's game. Usually never is. Honestly, he got lucky. Take away that screen pass, he had 58 yards on 7 catches. So, yeah, that's a borderline wide receiver 2 at 14 points or whatever it was. But don't expect the crazy numbers that he had last week. It's not going to happen.
I'm curious what you guys think about this. We can turn that into a question. Fields or A-Rich, Anthony Richardson this week?
I don't hate it at all, man. I have no problem with you starting Anthony Richardson over Justin Fields because
Richardson's used in the red zone more.
And they know what Richardson is. I mean, Fields, apparently they don't know what he is because they won't run with him.
Exactly. I love Justin Fields. Anybody knows me. I love the guy. He's not set up success in the offense. He's not playing as well as he needs to as well, not hitting open receivers down the field. It is what it is at this point. Give me Richardson because we know they're absolutely going to run him.
And then this one real quick for me. No, I'm taking A-Rich naked. I ain't stacking him with Pittman. He got lucky, like Ike said.
Yeah, can you imagine what a specimen like Anthony Richardson looks like naked? I'm taking him naked as well. That was a joke, guys. Come on.
I know.
Specimen, huh? I just like the word. That's the word that hung me out because I've never ever heard you use specimen word ever in like the 20 years I've known you. Almost not 20, but like 12.
Smart man. Brain's growing. Well, Mike, let's jump over to the Texans.
Firing on all cylinders.
And yes, we're jumping over to the Texans, Mike, because we're excited on what we saw from this offense last week with all the passing volume because they were down most of the game. They should be down. They should be down in most games. So,
hey, come on now.
Expect the target share for Nico Collins and Robert Woods to stay up here, or was this a little bit of an outlier?
I mean, Nico got 11. Woods got 10. I mean, just one more target, for Nico than Woods. Woods got 75% of the snaps and Nico 70. I mean, it's pretty damn even if you ask me. Although I prefer Collins for the possible big plays. Me and I did a little research here, looking up A-dots and everything. Woods has a 7.5 yard A-dot. All right, average depth of target. In case you don't know what that is, that's the average. That's the yards that the ball travels to reach the target. So 7.5 for Woods. 14.4 for Nico Collins. All right, 17th in the entire league. All right, third in air yards, which we loved Chris Olave last year for the air yards with 158.
Big time air yards around here.
Yeah, if you're into that stuff, yeah.
But yeah, there's just a lot of big play potential there with Nico Collins, especially if they got to play it more. And if they do keep an even workload like this, and share it like that, because I do think Stroud's good enough to where he's going to spread the ball like he did. I still take Nico over Woods. Like I said,
I do gotta say, Dalton Schultz was super disappointing, by the way.
Yeah,
it's because the corpse of Robert Woods came back to life. So.
Apparently, he always does.
Does Tank Dell appeal to either of you guys with him starting in the slot now with Noah Brown being put on IR?
Not yet. Wait till you see. Dusty, sure.
Yeah.
You're probably excited that you get to see this, but redraft, not yet.
Yeah, for sure. But who you guys got in this one? Indy's favored by 1 on the road. Give me the Colts.
I mean, if Stroud plays, I wouldn't be shocked if this game goes into overtime. What do I bet if it goes into overtime? It's like you still got to do.
It really depends on Stroud. I'm gonna lean with him not playing, so I'm gonna go Indy.
Yeah, if he doesn't play, I'm going Indy.
The line is still. Well, I don't know what it is now. I didn't see if it moved or not. But with the line being 1, that's saying that Stroud is going to be available to play. But I don't. Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure if it moved. But yeah, I'm still taking the Colts. Oh, the next game.
Before we move on, I mean, he is watching the show, so we might as well help out our friend Brody. Thoughts on Zach Moss this week? Ike, where you got him ranked, if you remember? Is he like RB3?
He has
RB2?
no clue.
Well, I mean, you got like, is it the
right.
like,
so
24 range?
Zach Moss,
30?
at least this first week, should not be on your radar. Not even remotely. Don't even think about picking him up unless you're in like a 32 team league or some shit. Because
no, that's a little excessive.
Dude, you have.
I agree.
Right,
you gotta be down bad to start Zach Moss.
16 team league, fine, but you have no idea what he's gonna do, even coming back from injury. So I mean, granted, Evan Hull is on IR, but still,
it's in the realm of possibility. Zach Moss gets 10 to 15 carries this week, but you gotta wait. And
very well could, but you have to wait and see. I mean, I guess you can pick him up, hoping he gets the heavy workload.
Yep.
But is he really worth that bench spot over, say, like a Tutu Atwell?
Yeah. And Brody,
you really think so?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I was just moving on. I was gonna say Jonathan Taylor was posting stuff on his Instagram too that he's in the Colts building, working out and stuff. So he might be coming back here after week 4 once he's off the PUP list. Mike, but what do you think?
Honestly, I would leave Zach Moss on the waiver wire.
I mean, if you got an open bench spot, I mean, but here's the thing: if you're dropping him for somebody you draft, I mean, if you're picking him up for somebody you drafted. No, but if you're just picking them up and dropping them for somebody you picked up on waivers, like maybe like before the season started, sure, go for it. But even when, Jonathan Taylor comes back, Zach Moss is irrelevant. Sorry.
But, like, who would you really drop him for right now? Say you're in a 10 or 12 team league. Who would you drop him for?
Is that Sky Moore?
No, I still want Sky Moore over him.
I winked at you. I was just giving Michael Prince balls.
I can't even. To be honest with you, I can't even think of it. Like, it's too soon, especially coming off the forearm injury. Plus, you have a Rich taking all the red zone carries. So it's like Zach Moss may get that 10 to 15 carries, but it's going to be maybe for 80 yards for 8 points.
40 yards, I'm thinking. Was he averaging 8 yards a carry?
I mean, 15.
As Richardson's the goal line back there too, so yeah, I don't love it, Brody. But yeah, like I said, you could be worth a stash if you're down bad. But we got next game of the week, in my opinion. We got Kansas City Chiefs favored by 3 points on the road in Jacksonville. Favored by 3 on the road in hot, muggy Jacksonville. Ike, who is the pass catcher to start outside of Travis Kelce in this offense after the abysmal performance we saw last Thursday to kick off the season from all of these guys?
I would say none of them. It's wait and see on Tony and Sky Moore because they at least saw some work compared. Justin Watson's too big play dependent to be even rostered, honestly. Justin Ross isn't getting the targets. Rashee Rice looked good, but granted that's a rookie, so you're not really sure about him.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs like to spread the ball around. They like to switch out wide receivers constantly. So honestly, this whole year, unless one breaks out, I don't really want anybody from it except for Kelce.
Yeah, I agree 100%, and I hear you for sure. But what I really want to talk to you about is, what did you think of what we saw from Pacheco in week 1? Those weren't just dump off passes he was catching. A few of those were designed to get him the ball through the passing game. Do you think that continues, or was that just kind of a one-off thing and they didn't have Travis Kelce out there, so they're just trying to get the ball to their playmakers in any way they can?
He saw 4 targets, which was more than McKinnon, I believe.
Probably more than he saw all last season.
Clearly, the new offensive coordinator, whoever's running the plays, isn't the biggest fan of McKinnon right now.
It's Matt Nagy.
Yeah, what do you mean, whoever it is?
It's your former coach.
I'd like to believe that that's not a real thing, but it is.
It's Matt Nagy.
He's the offensive coordinator. He might not be calling plays because
he's coaching Patrick Mahomes. No wonder why he sucked against the Lions. Anyways, Pacheco obviously looks like the pass catching back. McKinnon is dead in the water again until he shows up randomly. But as of right now, I'd be very happy about Pacheco.
Yeah, I'm happy with Pacheco, but I can't say McKinnon's dead in the water, because as soon as you say that, he's catching a shovel pass for a touchdown down at the goal line and catching.
Usually what happens.
Something. Yeah, totally.
As soon as you think it's Dead Legs McKinnon, he comes back.
Dead Legs McKinnon, I love it. That'll forever be his nickname on this show. But Mike, let's head on over to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Should Tannehill be called Dead Arm Tannehill then?
Yes, that should absolutely be his nickname 100%.
Drew Brees 2.0 in this last year.
Oh, man. But we got Mike, I want to ask you, Zay Jones or Christian Kirk this week and rest of the season? Because let me tell you, it was interesting what we saw with Zay Jones leading this wide receiver core in snap percentage. I want to say it was like 88%. Christian Kirk, only 60% of the snaps, and was not in on 2 wide receiver sets. So I just teed that up for you, Mike. So who are you going here, Zay Jones or Christian Kirk?
I got to ask you, did you put this question after we had the debate, or did this spark the debate?
No, it sparked the debate.
Okay, that's what I had that feeling that it sparked the debate.
And I wrote it, and Zay Jones was one of my top guys in my waiver article this week. When I was looking at all the underlying stuff, I'm like, holy shit.
I know you don't agree with me, but it's Christian Kirk for the rest of the season. As of now, we'll see this week as it changes, because this is a great week. It's a great week. We already talked about how he performs against the Chiefs. The Chiefs, allow the most yards to slot receivers. So, it's a prime matchup for Christian Kirk if he is what you say he is, and he's just a slot receiver, which, granted, if he's a slot receiver, one of the highest paid slot receivers in the game right now. But this is a great game. 4 3 wide receiver sets. And this was my argument against you in that debate. It's like
Mm.
last week, they didn't have to throw the ball against the Colts. All right. It was a close game. You know, they weren't down really at any point besides after that that fumble recovery from, I can't even remember his name, DeForest Buckner. Thank you. But so like the Jags I think are going to be playing from behind. And I think that it is a lot of 3 wide receiver sets in the future here for Christian Kirk. So like, I get it. Zay Jones scored the touchdown. He got the snap percentage, but it's like, you know, the targets favored Zay Jones this time, but it's going to be rotating. I mean, Evan Ingram's going to get it one game. I mean, Christian Kirk's going to get it probably this game, in my opinion. This is a great Christian Kirk week.
Yeah. Yeah, the more I know, I said in Discord that I wouldn't feel comfortable starting Christian Kirk, but the more and more I look at it, I think this week you could do it because of everything we're seeing on how he torches man coverage, and all this stuff. So that's it's
again, that's without Calvin Ridley though. So
yeah,
I mean,
and
Brandon's not wrong.
how can we be in on all these guys? You know what I mean? We're in on Kirk. I'm in on Zay Jones. We're in on Ridley because he looked outstanding.
We're expecting the Jaguars offense to be like this special offense, but there's no way they can have 4 or 5 relevant guys.
And ETN was damn ass awesome last week too, LaPlante. And I know everyone is excited about Tank Bigsby and his usage inside the red zone. But ETN was still getting a ton of work, and he looked awesome. Looked like the guy that we always wanted to be, and I want to say he had a career high in targets with like 5 or 6, which was great.
I mean, all I can say is for the question you gave me about, you know, worried about Tank Bigsby's usage, it's like, no. I never looked at it. It's 23 touches to Bigsby's 7. We're talking 3 times the amount of touches here. So, no, I mean, even if he is getting, you know, a couple red zone carries sprinkled in there, it's ETN. You chase volume. That's what fantasy football is. You chase volume, and if you're lucky, you get a couple players that have a ceiling week every now and again.
Yeah.
All right. You know, those are those early round picks. I mean, ETN, you know, he's got a great floor. It's just with Bigsby there, we all knew the ceiling was cut off a little bit.
Yep. It's just with ETN, he always has a ceiling because he could break any time he touches the ball, he could break a long run. And like where you drafted him this year, which was probably in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. Like I'm looking right now, he went in the 5th round. I'm looking at our draft board actually from our home league. He went in the 5th round in ours in a 10-team league. So it's like, that's great value after 1 week for ETN, but let's not overreact. It is 1 week. But who do you guys got in this one? Can you really see Kansas City going to 0-2, or do you think they handle Jacksonville on the road in a hot, muggy Jacksonville weather?
What's the?
Is
it
Jacksonville
even?
is
Chiefs favored by 3. I'm going Chiefs here. I can't see them going 0-2.
I can't see him going 0-2, but I think it's going to be on a field goal. So it's like, if it is
on a Jaguars
field goal,
you're calling push here.
I think it's actually going to be a push because I think this will be a close game. I mean, let's be real. The Lions just beat the Chiefs. Now, granted, Travis Kelce's back. Jacksonville's offense, in my opinion, is better than the Lions' offense, so I think they can hang with the Chiefs' offense even with Kelce there.
I think Jaguars covered. Does that mean I picked them? I think they lose by like 1, maybe 2 points on a field goal.
Then you're taking.
Then you're taking the Jags. Guys, this is why you go and you get a subscription at fantasy6pack.net/plan so you can go get DFS and betting advice there from the guys who are experts at it, unlike us.
Yeah, no doubt. And
we're having fun with it. Why
not?
And
Alan is absolutely killing the betting side of things, and you should check out the Sunday show because he might be making an appearance on the Sunday Social this weekend. Heading on over to the afternoon games, heading on over to the West Coast as well. We got the San Francisco 49ers favored by 8 points on the road against division rival Los Angeles Rams. Like, I ain't lying to you. I loved seeing the usage from Christian McCaffrey, but I would be lying to you if I said it didn't worry me. How about you?
Why are you giving him 25 touches in a blowout game?
I thought you were asking me why I was worried, but I'm glad you took it to that. Yeah, I agree 100%. I don't know what they were doing.
He has injury concerns, and you're giving him this much workload in the game that honestly didn't matter much by halftime.
He dominated from the first quarter on.
And I don't expect that in week 2 and what could be another blowout. Rams don't look good, but again, Rams always play the 49ers well, so you never know. So obviously McCaffrey, top 5 running back, even number 1 running back this week could be, but still seeing that many touches is insane this early in the year for him.
Because
you're just asking to kill him.
Yeah, they need to play the long game with him, man. These guys, you want to talk about Super Bowl aspirations, they might be my pick to win it all, man.
Give the freaking ball to Debo. Who cares? Have him run 5-6 times.
Elijah Mitchell, get it to everybody. And, you're starting Brandon Ayuk. He was awesome week 1. You're still starting Debo. You're starting McCaffrey. You're starting George Kittle. Does that mean are we just in on Brock Purdy now because of all his weapons? He's not ever going to be the best fantasy quarterback because
he's not going to be a top 5 guy unless he gets.
He's not going to give you the yards. If you're in a yards league, like in our main league, he is not going to destroy a league. But if you're in a normal league, his averaging 2 touchdowns a game, fantastic.
Yeah,
how can you beat that?
I feel like he's going to be a borderline 8 to 12 quarterback every week.
Yeah, he doesn't turn the ball over.
He needs to be rostered. Yeah, exactly.
Howard Cosell, granted, he'll never even watch this show ever, probably. So shout out to him anyways. But he said that Brock Purdy reads defenses as well as anybody in the league. So I'm all in on Brock Purdy now.
Yeah, I'm digging him as well, man. It's good stuff over there in San Francisco. It really is. Mike, let's talk about this Rams offense. Ooh. And was anything we saw sustainable? Stafford behind an awful offensive line throwing for 334 yards. Rookie Puka Nacua getting 15 targets. Tutu Atwell getting 11 targets. And let's talk about the weirdest thing of all, shall we? Kyren Williams at one point was out touching Cam Akers 20-something to 4 in the first half. Where did this come from? What did Cam Akers do to Sean McVay that he just randomly stops playing him sometimes, except in garbage time, where Akers ran it 12 times once the game got out of hand and got like 20 carries for 30 yards or whatever it was.
I mean, it's not like
22 for 28.
It's happened before. We saw it with Darrell Henderson last year. I mean,
you just can't use him at the beginning of the year or what?
Maybe it's like, and I'm taking a shot in the dark here. Maybe like, does Sean McVay have like a daughter? It was like Cam Akers like hitting on his daughter. Like, what's going on here? Like, why is it that he just hates him in the beginning of the year? Is he try like every year at the start of it and then it just fails?
He's got to remember. This guy has an Achilles injury. Gotta remember, gotta ease him into the workflow here.
But yeah, no, I mean, it is alarming seeing that. I don't expect it to be that way, but let's be honest, the Rams dominated. So I mean, they maybe just wanted to keep Cam Akers. I mean,
but Mike, it was close in the first half still, though. That's the problem. The way Williams was out snapping him in the first half is what worries me. I don't.
No, it really pisses me off.
You can't start Cam Akers this week, especially because of the matchup. But how are you even feel comfortable next week starting him is beyond me. And I have Cam Akers in plenty of places, and I'm not waving the white flag yet, but it sure is trending that way.
I mean, you're right. It's the Niners offense. I mean, if you're going to start anybody, which I don't recommend. I mean, yeah, Niners defense, my bad. If you're starting anybody from this offense, I guess you're starting Kyren Williams, but still, I don't trust it, and I find another option. But I do believe that. I mean, yeah, right now Akers is the backup.
Cam Akers, I like that one.
Zach Evans is better than Kyren Williams.
It's a monitor week,
and he's not getting the shit.
It's a monitor week because we want to see if the snap counts and the touches even out here because week 1 is always random. It always is. I'm sorry. That's why you don't overreact after week 1. So if it evens out in this game against the Niners, even though it's going to be terrible for both of them, I'm more confident in Cam Akers, but if it still looks like how it did after week 1, then I'm leaning more Kyron Williams. I wanted to talk about this question.
Yeah, let's say first. No, I think it's going to be pretty easy.
Brock Purdy.
We're going to go Brock Purdy. I wanted to give the floor to you actually to give the spiel about Jordan Love if you wanted to.
It's not that I don't like Jordan Love. He showed me some good potential, but it was the Bears defense. I mean, Pittsburgh's defense it's competent. And Brock Purdy still, showed out. He's got the weapons, just much better weapons. So, it is Brock Purdy, but Jordan Love is going to have some spike weeks. Don't be surprised if he does have another, top 5 finish.
He's got some accuracy issues.
I mean, he didn't have Christian Watson in there, so.
Does that make him much better?
No, I was just making an excuse.
But yeah.
I mean, going to 15 or 27 isn't as great as everybody is saying is. He was just given 245 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Also,
come on, he missed almost half his passes.
Also, granted, great field position because of the turnovers.
So you can dial it back a little bit on Jordan. We'll get into him later, but still, dial it back a little bit.
Who do you guys got here?
What do you mean we'll get into him later? He was the first game we talked about.
Oh.
It's been a long night. It's already been an hour.
We'll get into them before right now.
Yeah, if you want to, just rewind it back to about the first 10 minutes of the show.
Actually, rewind it to 5 minutes. I got the timestamp right
there.
Here
There you go. Right on. San Francisco favored by 8 on the road. Are you guys taking the Niners here or the Rams? Give me the 9. Yeah, I don't care. Give me the Niners all day.
Rams. They play them tough every time. I'm going.
I will take the Rams to cover.
Kyle Shanahan's daddy to Sean McVay, man.
Kyle Shanahan isn't daddy to anybody, except for maybe if he actually has a kid.
Did you guys answer? I didn't hear you.
I said Rams.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The next game we got here is the New York Giants, favored by 6 points on the road against the Arizona Cardinals. Ike, where do you have Daniel? Where do you have Daniel Jones ranked this week? Because he was going as a top 12 guy in draft season-ish. Top 12 to 15, I guess you should say. Is he – did you move him way down now after week 1 against a brutal matchup in the Cowboys?
He's still a top 15 quarterback. Granted, Arizona, for some reason, had 6 sacks in week 1. Super weird. I didn't even think they had a – pass rush to begin with, to be honest.
Commanders' offensive line has been rumored to be ass all preseason. So that
Giants gave up 7 sacks to the Cowboys. So if you want to go that way, you expect them to just get sacked even more. But I don't expect that this week. I think they're going to turn things around. And Dan Jones is a solid super flex quarterback, but not a top 12.
You still don't want him as a top 12 guy that you still don't want. Sorry, let me rephrase. You still don't want him as a starter in a great matchup against Arizona, because if you're not starting him here, like, you probably don't need to be rostering Daniel Jones outside of him being your backup.
If you're in 10-12 league, or if you're in 10-12 league without Superflex, you probably don't need to be starting him because his passing volume will never be that high. He's going to have to rely on rushing yards and touchdowns and probably some big plays. Their wide receiver core is not great. Probably lean on Saquon the most. But if you're in super flex leagues, he is great quarterback too for you.
Yeah, I'm with you there. What about anybody else?
Justify playing him over? Honestly, I'd rather have Anthony Richardson over.
Yeah, 100%. You'd rather have Anthony Richardson over Daniel Jones. I'm with you.
Brock Purdy or Daniel Jones?
Brock Purdy.
He
throws touchdowns, man. That's all I can go off on that.
Jordan Love. Or
I go Daniel Jones over Jordan Love.
There still. Yep.
I agree with both those.
Until I see more from Jordan Love. If he can repeat what he's doing, then you're going to want him.
If Waller's a go with the hamstring issue that he's dealing with, you're still starting him, correct? And is there anyone else outside of him besides?
Freaking brutal right now.
Let's be honest. I mean, the Cardinals defense, they put some fight in. They're still not very good. And Buda
they always allow points to tight ends too, by the way. I don't know why.
Well, if Darren Waller doesn't play, don't expect. I mean, don't be surprised if Daniel Jones does just run. Why not? Just run for it.
They need to win
And
big
then-
time.
Heading over to the Cardinals side of things, let's just keep this simple, Mike. After 1 week of this offense, whatever it was, what's your take on it?
I mean, you're starting James Conner. Don't watch it play. With how bad the tight ends are and how many targets he got, I guess you could start Zach Ertz as a streamer if you're hurting. 10 targets, insane.
Yeah.
33.3% target share, and that's probably because it's just Joshua Dobbs. But I think you can sometimes get away with playing Brown here, but it's just basically these three. They dominated the target share. Now it's ugly. It's a very low floor, no ceiling at all. But I mean, Brown got the same target share as James Conner, 16.7%. But there's going to be games where, Zach Ertz is not going to get 10 targets every game.
Agreed.
I mean, he's 33, 34 years old, I believe. So he can't sustain that workload. So Marquise Brown's going to get more of that workload as the season progresses. It's just, man, don't watch the game. Just don't watch it.
Yeah, this one's going to be this game in particular is just going to be absolutely gross too. But
I'm confused by your line because they're both -6. I mean, that's very possible. They could tie.
Arizona's getting +6 at home. Give me the Giants. They bounce back a little bit. I think they win by at least 10. Give me the Giants here.
I'm more curious. We know the Cardinals might go 0-17, but I'm more curious of how many times they cover.
They covered against Washington.
Yeah, that's why they're going to go 1-1 after this week.
They're going to keep it close every game.
It's the Giants. I'm taking the Giants.
All right. Next game, we got another New York team. We got the New York Jets +9.5 on the road against the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers goes down. We got Zach Wilson manning this Jets offense. And after what Dallas just did to Daniel Jones and the Giants offense, are you comfortable starting anybody in this matchup against Dallas? What's Garrett Wilson's ceiling? Maybe catching a touchdown and having
that's what 12, he has to have.
15 fantasy
He has to have a touchdown to stay relevant. If it wasn't for his touchdown last week, which was immaculate, by the way.
Yeah, he's great.
He's was
great
basically
player.
Nothing. Their offensive line is probably worse than the Giants' offensive line. Giants have quite a few first-round picks on that line.
I mean, it's pretty safe to say it is worse. It just allowed an Achilles injury to Aaron Rodgers. So
Zach Wilson is less experienced than Daniel Jones in every shape of the way of an NFL quarterback, so it could get ugly. If you have the Cowboys defense, you are probably very happy right now. You can expect 10, 15 fantasy points, turnovers for sure.
No 37-point performance.
If you're in a deeper league, I guess you can start one of the running backs. In my opinion, it's Brees over Cook because he's more explosive even with the injury, but still, it's not looking pretty right now.
What I'm worried about here with Brees, while I do agree with you, obviously, Brees is the better player right now than Dalvin Cook. I don't know especially if this game gets out of hand, I don't think they're going to want to waste Brees in this game.
Yeah, I get it.
This could be
leave him on the bench this week.
This could be a dump off to Cook over and over and over again late in garbage time, if I'm being honest with you, unless they have Izzy Abanikanda up or something.
If it gets out of hand, why risk both of them?
Exactly. So, I don't know if it will get out of hand because the Jets defense is also ridiculously good. And we'll kind of segue into that now, Mike. And let's talk about this Cowboys offense in this matchup against the fantastic Jets defense. Are you worried about everyone in this Dallas offense?
Not CeeDee Lamb. No, I'm not worried about CeeDee Lamb. Jets allowed the 12th most points to wide receivers last week. Sauce Gardner was not rookie of the year. Sauce Gardner, who was, shut down on an island. Sauce Gardner. Now, granted, it was Stephon Diggs. I get it. Elite receiver. But so's Lamb.
Another elite.
Yeah, he's another elite receiver. So, if Sauce lining up against Lamb, Lamb's a great route runner, which is what Diggs, Diggs is his best attribute is route running, and so is Lamb's. So, I think Lamb can still carve up this defense, in my opinion. I'm worried about Tony Pollard, though. It's going to be a touchdown that keeps him afloat this week against this D-line for the Jets. They looked good.
Is Quinn
Really
Williams
good
better
defensive
than Aaron
line.
Donald at this point?
Say that again.
Is Quinn Williams better than Aaron Donald at this point? It's real damn close.
It's 1 week. We
Not
can't judge
as
it off that.
much of an impact in the pass rush.
Okay.
Because Aaron Donald, as you know, would get like 15, 20 sacks. I don't think Quinn's ever going to get that much.
And
But
he
in the
could
running
even have
game,
more.
He got 11 sacks in a joint practice on Hard Knocks. You didn't see that? Where he
clearly,
practiced
the Jets' offensive line is absolutely atrocious. Poor
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers. I feel so bad.
Yeah, I think it's CD here, and obviously you're still starting Tony Pollard. Maybe just temper expectations a wee bit, kind of like what Mike's saying. Leave Dak on your bench here again, guys. I know you probably benched him. Well, you might have played him last week against the Giants, but if you did, it wasn't great either because he didn't have to do anything. But once again, if you drafted Dak, it's probably 2 weeks in a row. You don't really want to start him.
Yep.
Mike, do you agree?
Agreed.
All right.
I mean, wait, before you, Daniel Jones or Dak Prescott?
Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones. Here.
Daniel Jones for me.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I have him.
Last one, and we'll move on because I know we're running late. Brock Purdy or Dak Prescott?
Brock Purdy. I have Brock Purdy as a top 12 quarterback this week, just so you guys are aware.
That's interesting. I mean, I guess I'll trust
hot.
you. I'll take Brock Purdy.
Who do you got in this game, guys? Do you think the Jets covered the 9.5 point spread on the road against Dallas?
Yes.
Sorry, I guess I
Yes.
should have rephrased it. Yeah, I think they stay within 10.
I think it's I
here.
think it's a tight game. I don't think it's a blowout.
Like a 20-13 game. I could see happening here.
I mean, then the Cowboys get it if it's 2013. That's 10 points.
No, they got to win by 9.5.
Oh wait, I lied. I thought you said 23. My bad.
Yeah. Don't mind the drunk guy over there. We got the next game we got here. We got the Washington Commanders.
T-shirt.
We got the Washington Commanders. Washington Commanders plus 3.5 versus the Denver Broncos. Ike. It's every year. I got to stop doing this to myself, and us as an industry got to stop doing this with Antonio Gibson, with him having like 0.7 points in week 1 after his fumble. What are we doing with him? Is he droppable? Are we just sticking him on our bench? What are we doing here with him?
You got to stick him on the bench just for hope because his talent is there. He is a receiving back. Use him like that, please. But once again, he was out-targeted by another running back, which is Brian Robinson, who should not be known for catching passes.
To be fair, that one touchdown that Robinson caught, it didn't even look like Howell was throwing him the ball. I think he just stole it from the tight end.
This is where we're at, though.
Hell yeah.
Gibson's like getting out-targeted by a dude who is not a pass-catching back. So there is obviously a little bit of worry, but I keep him around on your roster a little bit longer just to see how it goes.
Yeah, you're not dropping him yet. You, like you said, you want to keep seeing how this backfield plays out. And like you said, guys, Brian Robinson,
dude, he got dominated
every week.
It wasn't even close in carries. Robinson at 19, Gibson at 3.
Antonio Gibson's out this week?
No, he's not out this week, but
he's just not playing.
Oh, okay. I read that wrong. I thought it said he isn't playing this week. My bad. I totally read that wrong.
And I'm drunk. Okay.
Having that White Claw, bro.
But I agree. You're not playing Gibson this week because of the disproportionate volume that Ryan Robinson received. And I agree. If it stays the same this week, I think a decent matchup. As far as volume's concerned, because this is going to be a close game. It's not going to be a blowout in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, you're dropping him probably if it stays the same this week.
By the way, that Commanders game in week 1, they had to come back for that game, and he still saw less targets than Brian Robinson, less carries and everything. So I might be completely out on this guy.
Like you said, Washington did have to battle back. Like, so what is your take on these wide receivers, Jahan Dotson and Terry McLaurin, after 1 week? What should we expect this week against Denver?
That's a good one, actually. Against Denver, temper your expectations.
I was gonna say-
Maybe even not start either of them because Patrick Surtain and company or Jonathan Simmons as the safety, pretty solid. Patrick Surtain might be a top 3 to 5 cornerback in the league, so whoever he is on is probably locking down. If you must start one of them, don't even say Jair is better. Shut up. If you must start one, I would go Jahan Dotson for now. He at least is seeing the target share. McLaurin only saw like 14% targets or target share. My bad. Not great for him, at least. I always thought this year that Dotson was going to be better than McLaurin, so I would roll with him for now.
Yep. I'm with disbanded as well. Give me Dotson over Terry for sure. Mike, heading over to Denver side of things, we thought maybe their offense would get better. It didn't look great, but what we did like to see was Javonte looking healthy. Let's just say that.
I wouldn't say that.
Why wouldn't you say that?
Because he looked like he got more of a workload, but he wasn't healthy, because if he was healthy, he would have gotten, a little bit better of efficiency numbers and probably got more yards than P. Ryan, considering Javonte Williams had 17 touches to Samaje's 12, but yet Samaje out, gained him on yards, 78 to 56 for total yards. Like, we're talking 4 catches for Javonte Williams, 6 targets, which is great. We like that in PPR. We love that for 4 total yards.
With Russell Wilson, though, dude, all he does is get targets. Javonte Williams, at least. I remember that first game last year, he had like 10 to 12 targets or some shit, and then until he got hurt, he saw steady 5 to 6.
Like, even though Javonte did get more of a workload than P. Ryan still outscored him fantasy-wise. PPR, 11.8 for P. Ryan compared to 9.7 for Williams. Just more efficient. And it's going to happen. He had 3 ligaments that he had repaired. He's going to get better as the season progresses. It's probably not going to be till probably like week 8 or week 9, though.
It is nice to see that he is out touching the running backs already, though, with that injury.
Yeah. And like you said, the work's just going to increase too. You'd like to think as the season moves.
As long as there's no setbacks, any injuries,
right.
Because here's the thing. I mean, you get a multi-ligament injury like that, your other extremities, your other muscles take the workload off for you. Backs, your core, hamstrings, so like that's what I'm worried about. It's just like, is he going to, get a hamstring injury later on in the season because of the workload he's getting? Is he going to get a lower back injury? Like, is the ankles taking the workload for him from that 3 ligament?
They're saying that's why Aaron tore his Achilles, because he dealt with that calf thing and
exactly, the ankles took majority of the pressure off of it when the calf was ailing him.
I guess if you have a calf injury, you're very susceptible to Achilles.
Absolutely, we saw with Kevin Durant when he did it on the basketball court too. Man, it's definitely less than ideal.
Totally off topic. Is it weird that we have seen a lot more Achilles injuries in the past 2 to 3 years than we have in the past 20? Yeah, DeMarcus Cousins, Kevin Durant, Aaron Rodgers, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins,
Deontay Foreman.
Who else is go back 10, 20 years?
But the difference is
Dan Marino's the only one who pops in my brain.
Right.
There's really no career-ending injuries anymore, though, with the medical technology. Like, you saw Cam Akers come back from an Achilles injury. You saw Kevin Durant come back from an Achilles injury. Like, it's possible nowadays.
Back injury is probably a career ender. Johnny Knox, shout out to him.
Brody, real quick, should we worry about Burrow since he had that calf issue with
Brody? That's a good. Yeah. Don't put that juju out there. Don't put that.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Brody and I are thinking on the same page.
Delete the comment.
I was thinking the same thing. I just wasn't putting it out there. Delete that comment. Mike, I know we're running late, but I gotta get your take here. Just give me 30 seconds. Keep it short because I know you'd like to blah 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 blah. Can't ever shut up. Jerry Jeudy is expected to play in this one. Are you starting Courtland Sutton in your lineup this week, or are you out on him now?
I'd still start Sutton in my opinion. That's not my question though.
No, I asked you.
Oh, I thought you asked Ike. I thought you said
No,
Ike.
I said Mike.
I'm still starting Sutton. Jerry's coming off that injury, and I just
hamstring
think they ease him
injury too,
into
by
it.
the way.
Yeah, they ease him into it because hamstring injuries linger. It's very confusing having an Ike and a Mike. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I feel you. But
Don't drink
besides
so
it being
much; you'll understand.
Oh, shut up! You had the same amount of beers as me.
But I'm
one more
understanding.
question.
Is it also rough that your guys' nickname or your guys' names, Mike and Ike, is just a mediocre candy? By the way, it's
Mediocre bullshit. I will
mediocre
fight you
at
to the
mediocre at
No.
best.
Shut up.
Like if you put all the
we're not
candy
getting
in
into
a top,
this. No,
if you
this
put
is
all
a
the
fantasy
candy in a
football
top
podcast,
16
not a candy
bracket,
podcast. If you
Mike
tell
and
me
Ike's
Mike
would
and
not
Ike
be on
suck
it.
again, I'm
Can
going to
one
rip your
person
head off.
talk at a time?
Guys, Ike said we gotta keep moving on here. I'd love to talk about candy, but let's go. Washington Commanders
That's
are
for
getting
another
3.5
day.
points. Washington Commanders are getting
No,
3.5 points
no,
on the road.
No, we have a question. We are answering
Why
the people's question.
Well, let us finish the. Go ahead.
We already finished the team. You were moving on to the next one. What do you want from me to interrupt you
pick
after
the
that?
teams. We didn't pick the teams. Who to win?
All right, pick the teams then, real quick. We can get
Denver
to
at
this question
home.
then.
How many points?
3.5. They're favored.
I actually take the Commanders.
I'm
All
going
right, Ike, how about
Commanders.
you? Okay.
I think
it's
Russell
a field goal
Wilson
game.
sucks now.
It's a field goal game.
Commanders.
I think for our question here, Miles Sanders, who to sit Miles Sanders, David Montgomery, Brees Hall. I'd sit Brees here. Kind of, we
Same.
laid it out a little bit earlier about this game script might not be great.
I don't see many people taking. I mean, Hubbard's going to get some work, but Miles Sanders is going to see some targets. He's going to get 12 to 15 carries, so he's fine. Montgomery is going to get his. Brees Hall is on a snap count, so that's easy.
Yeah, it's Miles Sanders, but it's close because I do.
Although
I do
Brees Hall is explosive, but you need to
Yeah.
hope for that for him to do what you want him to do.
Which he can. He can totally pull the Jahmyr Gibbs role and, get limited touches.
Sure.
And I mean, we just saw it last week. But chase the volume, Miles Sanders and Montgomery.
We got another one here from him as well. Broncos, Browns, Giants, Bucks D
defense.
this week. Give me the Giants against Arizona.
You're going to hate me, Dylan. I'm going Bucks.
That's completely fair. I got no problem with it.
Do the Browns play?
Browns play. Well, I can't find them.
Steelers, right?
No.
Yeah, Steelers Monday night.
Don't like that. Broncos play, if I remember correctly.
We just did it, Washington. We did it 3 minutes ago.
We were talking about shit, man. That's
the
not bad.
Giants.
Washington's offense is brutal.
Yeah, I think we can.
I go Giants. On that one.
But disbanded
embarrassing.
hot tamales were better than Mike and Ike's. I don't mind a hot tamale, and I don't love I don't love spicy.
I'm not gonna lie. I've never had hot tamales. So you saying them are better than Mike and Ike's pisses me off.
I love it.
We're gonna fight off camera.
The sour
Yeah.
Mike and Ike's. If you've never tried the sour Mike and Ike's,
They're not.
do it. Go to your local grocery station and get them.
Grocery
If those
station.
are the ones you had on the road trip home from Florida, I'm out. But we got Sunday Night Football.
Those are the ones, dude.
Not good. Not good. Sunday Night Football, guys. Miami Dolphins
This is
-2
going off the
on the
rails.
road versus the New England Patriots, who are getting 2 points at home. Ike, where do you have Tua ranked in this tough matchup after what we saw from him last week? I love Tua Tagovailoa.
Before I did my
5
projections,
quarterbacks in the league.
I had him around quarterback 12 to 15. But as I started looking more, I put him around. I didn't look recently, but I'm pretty sure I have him at quarterback 4 or 5. He looks like a different quarterback this year. He looks like he's actually hitting his fucking receiver.
It's that jujitsu.
Just hope he doesn't get clobbered by one of the Patriots linemen. But I like Tua this week more than I was previous in the week. So,
Did you like Tua last week?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Oh, yeah.
didn't like the hesitation in that. I'm hoping it's a lag in the connection between your internet.
It probably is.
Then you're
Him
starting
playing the
Jalen
Patriots, though, I do got to mention, he averages
Oh, that's
15
pretty
and a half points a game. Not great.
We got another Ike.
Nice, that's cool.
Hell yeah.
You're starting Jalen Waddle, you're starting Tyreek Hill, obviously.
Yep.
But what about Raheem Mostert here? I think I'm good here in a tough matchup against New England.
What I want to know is what
You're
about
still
Durham
starting him.
Smythe? How about that?
No.
Yo.
Don't. How about that, me?
Nah, hey. You saw targets, man. For a tight end, if you see 7+ targets or whatever the frick it was, even if it was 5+, that's fantastic.
He's not wrong, but no, I'm sitting Durham Smythe this week unless you're absolutely desperate or you just avoided the tight end in the draft.
Tell me,
What
because
are
I'm
you
in this
talking
boat.
about? We're not wasting any more time on Durham.
No,
Smythe,
we
you
are,
ass.
because I'm going to
No,
ask
we're
this
not.
question. Dalton
No.
Schultz or Durham Smythe?
Dalton
Dalton
Schultz.
Schultz.
So why? Durham saw more targets.
Yeah, in a high scoring game, I don't think the Patriots are going to be like Mac Jones.
Way
54
better
times.
offense than Texans too, by the way.
Mac Jones threw 54 times, and all they could muster up was 20 points. What was it?
Talking about the
23?
Dolphins here.
Why the fuck are you talking about Mac Jones?
Come on,
Because
guys.
they're
Let me
playing the
All right.
Dolphins this week.
We're done.
Let me steer
Next.
this back on the track. Let's jump over to New England now. After what we saw, Mike, you were just talking about the Patriots throwing it 54 times, and we saw Kendrick Bourne have a great week. We saw Hunter Henry have a great week. Are those guys for real or
Yes, Hunter Henry is for real if they can throw it. I mean, they're not going to throw it 54 times, but with how bad tight ends are, Hunter Henry
What
seems
about
to be for
Gesicki,
real. I mean, if he was going to be a factor, it should have been last week when there was 54 targets at the dispose. So, I mean,
Fair.
I don't think Gesicki is going to be a main factor here. He's just kind of a gadget guy. He's the Jonnu Smith of that offense. Hunter Henry is going to be a solid streamer this year, I think. Because, I mean, let's be honest, they got an actual offensive coordinator in Bill O'Brien now. It's not Matt Patricia and Joe Judge back there. So they know how to incorporate the tight end into an offense. Kendrick Bourne, though, you're going to have to play him in matchups where you think Mac Jones is going to throw 54 times, like those
This is
negative
one of
game
them.
scripts. I mean, you think so? I mean, it's a divisional game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's closer than we are.
Dolphins have no running game.
Tua's also never lost to the Patriots, so that should make it interesting as well. If the Patriots are playing from behind. Yeah,
I'm starting Mostert though, like you said earlier. I know I didn't really answer that question, but I would still start Mostert in the flex.
you would. Oh
in
no,
the flex.
okay.
In the flex.
Over who though?
I was gonna. If you
I mean,
want
I
to know
can't-
who to,
I mean-
if you want to start,
Like, would you rather have Kelly or Mostert?
I mean, with Austin Ekeler out
right, Josh Kelly, yeah.
Yeah.
against the Titans,
If you want to know more start sick
That's
questions, check out the Sunday Social on Sundays. We'll talk about it there.
I mean,
and then
we do.
real quick, what, Mike?
We have questions, but go on with it. Go on with what you want to talk about.
No, there's something you gotta say.
We have
Who?
to appease the people. We got questions, guys.
I
Go.
hear you, but
Let
I
me
just
know.
want to. I just go ahead.
All right,
Pull it up.
Brody Green. First, pick two: Robinson, Pacheco, Pierce, or Harris.
Which Robinson?
Brian.
They're both named. Oh, okay. How do you know it's Brian Robinson?
It's
Just a
Brian
guess?
Robinson and it's Pacheco.
Yeah.
It's probably the home league team.
Yeah.
It's Pacheco.
Oh yeah,
and
duh.
Pacheco and
Is that
Robinson.
Najee
It's Brian
or
Robinson.
Damien?
It's Najee.
Oh,
but
is
I'm
it
not.
Najee?
I don't want to start Najee. Yes, you guys, it's Najee.
Against the
I
Browns.
want Pierce and
Against the Browns, actually, I'll admit it. Jalen Warren was involved more than I thought he would. Now, granted, it's week
know.
one.
We got to
We'll
get
see
to
it.
that game still.
But I
Pierce and
still take
Pacheco.
Robinson and Pacheco. I think it's safer. If you want to go with a little bit more of a ceiling, Harris has more of a ceiling, in my opinion.
can't believe we're saying that about Harris.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with what you said about Harris having a ceiling, but yeah, I think he still started. I go Pacheco and Harris.
He's still the red zone back. That's why I say that. Touchdowns are the ceiling. Volume is the floor.
Good evening, Trey. Full PPR start 2. Garrett Wilson, Michael Pittman, Elijah Moore, Rashad White, Javonte Williams, or James Cook. Thanks and good luck this week, Trey.
Rashad White, no matter what.
Well,
yeah, Rashad White against that terrible Bears run defense. Absolutely.
Honestly,
full PPR.
I want to say Elijah Moore.
Give me James Cook.
I think it's James PPR. Cook and Rashad.
I'll go James Cook just so it's an easy sweep. He's close to Elijah Moore.
If it was half, I kind of lean Pittman a little bit more. But because it's full PPR, James Cook is the PPR back, at least between the 20s. He's going to get probably
I'd go White and Cook for sure.
You know what I mean? So it's White and Cook, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And you have good luck too, man.
All right.
Move on to the Monday night game. Unless we haven't decided.
Well, we got to pick who wins the game, man, because you keep interrupting me before every time
it's
we
the
do
Dolphins.
That.
It's the Dolphins.
I agree. It's the Dolphins. It's the Dolphins as well. Yep. Monday Night Football. 2 games this week. We got the New Orleans Saints favored by 3 points on the road against the Carolina Panthers, who did not look great in week 1. We saw I felt like everybody on the roster for the Saints be relevant in their pass catching group. Like, do you think this is sustainable with Michael Thomas being okay, Chris Olave being the stud that he is, and Rashid Shaheed? I like me some Rashid Shaheed. How about yourself?
Deeper leagues, I like Rashid Shaheed. He had some solid air yards, if I believe. Michael Thomas looked better than I thought. Granted, he did catch that deep pass. I thought he was only a slant guy.
My God.
Chris Olave is that dude. Obviously knows that. You got to start him. You got to start Michael Thomas. In the flex, I'd say, at best, Rashid Shaheed should be rostered, but not started just yet.
Yeah, I want to know.
When Michael Thomas goes down with an inevitable injury, then you can start Rashid Shaheed.
I want to know why Chris Olave is still only playing like 75% of the snaps. It's get him out there more. He needs to play 99.9% of the snaps.
He is. Awesome. He's unless something happens.
Talk to me when you get 90% of the snaps and only receive 1 target, Drake London.
I love it.
If you're a wide receiver 1 or allegedly a wide receiver 1, you should be seeing 90% snaps.
Yeah, I agree. And Olave is not, and he did not last year. Something to keep an eye on, but he's still producing with it. So just send it, you know. Jamal Williams, like, does he just stink now, or was it predicated on the Tennessee defense, who I apparently think is much better than you do?
Honestly, I think it depends on the line. Detroit Lions offensive line was significantly better, probably the best offensive line in football. He goes to the Saints that have a little bit of struggles. They got Ryan Reimsdyk and Eric McCoy and a few others. But other than that, Saints have a not significantly worse, but a worse offensive line than the Lions. So you can see why he's struggling so much.
I hear you. I think he could bounce back here. I think this is a good matchup against Carolina, who struggled last week, and I expect the Saints.
I don't believe that because Carolina has a good defensive line, though. You got Derek Brown. I think it's Derek Brown, the defensive tackle. I don't know if that's his first name, but you got Brian Burns too. So and Shaq Thompson, something to think about.
Sweeps, you should have brought me with to Mexico.
From Mexico, huh?
Yeah, fun in Mexico, man. That's sick.
Oh yeah.
Don't forget to start your
lineup.
Yeah, don't forget to put your lineup up against me.
No, but just to go to your point on them having a good rush defense, Atlanta just torched their run defense. That's why I'm kind of leaning toward Jamal Williams might be.
Didn't you say Brian Burns was out, right?
I want to say he actually ended up playing.
He
I
did.
do want to say he ended up playing.
It's a little bit worrisome, but still, I have faith in that Carolina defense compared to the Saints offensive line. Like, the Saints have a rough offensive line. Not bad, but.
Mm-hmm. Mike, heading over to the Carolina Panthers, man, this offense really struggled. Is it Miles Sanders or bust in this offense, or I'll just throw both questions in here, or does someone like Hayden Hurst need to be rostered after him seeing a team high in targets last week and catching a touchdown as well?
I mean, like I said, if you are struggling at tight end, you did not get one of those like top 5, maybe top 8 even, but still you're still bordering on that.
Where's your cutoff? Who would you start over him?
I mean, I'd start Kyle Pitts over him, unfortunately. One more week, I'll start over him.
So basically top.
Like Hayden Hurst or like Chico Okonkwo, give me Hayden Hurst. You know what I mean? Like in that range, like I'm taking Hayden Hurst.
David Njoku or Hayden Hurst?
David Njoku, that's a better one.
David Njoku.
So he's around 8 to 10 then.
Yeah, so like he's a great streamer this year, and it's because the tight ends suck, guys. I hate it. I really do. Unless you have Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews,
we thought they were bad last year or the years prior. It's bad this year.
Yeah, it's bad. So like Hayden Hurst is a good streamer target if you're hurting at tight end. Miles Sanders, you're starting just because if you drafted him, he's probably your second RB, and you gotta stick with him. This early into the season. But yeah, that outside of that, those are the only two I'm really putting or even contemplating putting in a starting lineup.
Yep. And I don't necessarily love the matchup for Miles Sanders here, especially he could be. Like I said, I think the Saints are going to get up on Carolina early, and I think they're going to be leading. So it might be a little struggle for Miles Sanders.
He does get the targets though now.
It's true. He could see it. Miles Sanders was somebody we saw catch 50 balls his rookie season, so he can do it. He just needs to get the volume, like you said, and hopefully he can keep seeing that. But who you guys got in this one? The Saints are favored by 3 on the road. Give me the Saints.
Saints are going to win this division.
Yeah, I agree.
Saints.
I agree. Last game on the docket in the second Monday night game. Super weird that they have 2 Monday night football games.
Yeah, why is that not week 1?
I honestly don't know. But we got the Cleveland Browns minus 2.5 on the road. Cleveland Browns favored by 2.5 on the road. I feel like that's just a slap in the face to Mike Tomlin, getting 2.5 points at home against this Browns team who looked good the first week, and their defense looks legit. But let me tell you, the offense didn't look legit in the rain. Are you still worried about Deshaun Watson, Ike? And are you? Yeah, let's just start with Watson.
I'm a little worried about him not improving. Granted, it was in the rain or whatever you said, but he's still at a 55% completion percentage, which that's what we saw last year, which was him shaking off the rust. Maybe this is just what he is now. Maybe he took too much time off of football and he lost a little bit of a step. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Deshaun Watson, but it's alarming to say the least.
Yeah, it's probably tough playing when your off the field life is a complete train wreck. But like we saw the 49ers offense destroy the Steelers defense, especially Brandon Ayuk catching 2 touchdowns and going over 100 yards. Do you expect Amari Cooper to have a banging week here? Or who are you thinking out of this wide receiver corps? Elijah Moore, maybe?
Oh, man, that's tough. Honestly, if I had to pick, I'm going Amari Cooper because he is the quote-unquote alpha in that offense. But like I said, Deshaun hasn't proven to me that he can produce a solid wide receiver 1 or even 2 right now. He's been struggling. I like to see more from him before I dive deep into that offense.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Mike, our last team here for the night, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And are we really doing this again? Are we doing this again with Allen Robinson, with Deontay Johnson being out for this one and moving forward? I think he's out 4 games, correct?
They haven't put him on the IR yet, but it's kind of trending that way.
Allen Robinson, are we doing it again?
I mean, if you're desperate, throw him in the flex because he's going to be the number 2 wide receiver, not the number 2 target, because I think Pat Freiermuth takes majority of those targets, if not George Pickens. But yeah, he should be rostered with Deontay Johnson, especially if it's trending towards the IR for him. These hamstring injuries linger. So are we doing it again? Yes, we're rostering Allen Robinson, but we're not starting him just yet, in my opinion.
Yep. Yeah, I hear you there. I'm okay with you adding him off of free agency and replacing him with someone who didn't do well at week 1 as someone whose outlook's not looking great, obviously.
I got to ask this just because it's been a theme. Sky Moore for the rest of the season or Allen Robinson?
That's a good one.
Give me Allen Robinson, actually.
I'm going Sky Moore. I'm going Sky.
Mike, our last question here, though. Are you changing your tone about this Pittsburgh backfield? You kind of alluded to it earlier when we were talking about one of the questions, because you're not a big Jalen Warren. You're not a big Jalen Warren guy. You've always leaned more towards Najee.
Yeah.
But what are you thinking here now?
I mean, I'm thinking that the Pittsburgh Steelers were down the whole game, and Jalen Warren got more work than I expected, especially in the passing game. I'm hoping that changes because it is just week 1. You don't want to overreact. Ooh, that's a good one, Watson. Yeah, he probably doesn't. He played in Houston for most of his career.
Mm-hmm.
Probably won't play that well in the cold.
But go ahead. Did you finish your point?
I still lean Najee. I still lean Najee. It's just that he's not getting the high value targets.
Yeah, the targets seem to have gone Jalen Warren's way, at least in week 1, and I kind of thought it was going to trend that way heading into the season. But guys, we did it. We're just under 2 hours. This show was awesome. Appreciate everybody in the chat. It was interactive. It was great. It was great talking to everybody. But before we get out of here, I want to remind you, please smash that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll be here every Friday giving you your game previews. And if you don't already, make sure you tune in to the Sunday Social Show on Sunday morning starting at 10:30 Eastern time this week. We're going to have our betting guy Alan on. We're going to have Joe Bond on talking rankings. Myself, Michael Plant, and Jordan Schultz will be here for an hour talking start sit advice with you guys. Then, of course, as they did last week, Dave Eddy and Chris Robin, a.k.a. Detroit Beastie, came on.
That's the part you want to listen to.
Yes, and they talked DFS for 30 to 40 minutes up until roster lock, and that was great of them to do. But like I said, please smash that like button. Please subscribe. Mike and I will see you Sunday. But until then, we'll talk to you next time.